Welcome back to another episode of the Blitz Break. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen, and we're back here on another Friday to have some conversation, touch base on some news stories, and bring in a new guest. As always, joined by my partner in crime, fellow Texan, heavy accent legend, and mortgage veteran of 72 years, Buzz Howard. Thank you for coming in.
72 years. You know, I did something special for you. I wore my shoes that you love.
Those are good.
Now let's rock and roll, baby. Those and the laces are even improved.
And the laces that you like because they're so long. I pulled those out of the closet just because we had that conversation earlier.
If you ever get stuck and need to be propelled like from one floor up, he's got laces that are long enough to take care of it for you.
I've got the laces that we can do that with.
That's perfect. You're planning ahead. I like it.
Right, for disaster.
That's right.
Love it. And back our social media expert, title expert, longtime connector, Julie Schroyer. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Even color coordinated with the mic cord.
That's right.
I mean,
Look at that.
You think so far ahead of my level. It's crazy. And plenty of pro tips to drop on social media and updates on how your evolution with Instagram and Facebook we're going to hear about.
Great.
And today's guest, a mortgage insurance expert, a 10-plus year employee over at Essent Guarantee, right?
Yep.
Right.
And here to share her story and talk a little bit about all the fun world of mortgage insurance. Skyler Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're very excited. And prior to the episode starting, we definitely have had more tech issues. Lucky we still have some cameras in place.
Well,
thank
she
you.
came in and just knocked over all the cameras. It was really weird.
It was very weird.
She was doing river dance.
It's not even Halloween.
These are the shoes that Buzz asked me to wear. So he asked if I would river dance for you all. So
Great shoes. I love those shoes.
Perfect. Well, let's kickstart. So how did you get into, first off, the mortgage industry as a whole? I know you had a progression, but talk a little bit about your journey into mortgage and kind of how we got to today.
Yeah. Well, it's not very exciting, just like it isn't for anyone, right? I didn't grow up wishing and hoping to be in the mortgage industry. But I was in college and I got a job working at a front desk, and I'm from Seattle originally. Sorry, got to back up. From Seattle, born and raised in Seattle. So I got a job working as a receptionist at a mortgage company, and so I loved it right away. I just loved that it was, fast paced and always changing, and I wanted to learn more. And so I was up at the front, like studying for my NMLS test, and started processing files, and then got my license. And this was in a pretty short amount of time. And then probably I loved that. 3 years in, I had another MI rep come in. She was making call in our office, and she was looking for a junior rep and said, "You would be great at this. Why don't you come work with me?" So I, heard her out, listened to the job, and I thought that it would be fun. I didn't want to deal with excise tax and people being homeless. You guys deal with the hard stuff. The mortgage side of it's a little more stressful, I think, than the insurance side of it. So I thought, well, we'll give it a go. And yeah, I've been there since, 2014. 2014. So it's been a while.
So same company. You went to work at Essent as a junior rep.
Yep.
And how did you get to Sacramento?
Yeah. So I took the job in Seattle, and I was her junior rep, and I covered, most of Western Washington, some of Eastern Washington. And then I loved it. And then this territory had opened up. I was a junior, obviously. So this territory in Sacramento opened up as having my own territory. And so they, Essent hadn't relocated anyone. And I said, I want to do that. And they said, all right, interview. And so we did that. And then we moved here like 6 months before COVID, my husband and our 3 children. My daughter was only 10 months at the time. And I don't even remember the boys' ages because it wasn't relevant. But anyway, she was a baby, and then COVID hit. So we were only here for like 6 months before COVID happened. So it was really hard. It was a really hard transition period.
When I think of you, I think that you've been here longer than that. That's shocking to me that you've only been here for, 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. Mm-hmm.
And that 1 year kind of omitted from being able to truly socialize, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. I think, I covered APM events before that. So when I was in Seattle, we'd work your symposiums. And
maybe that's
so I've been around, the APM peeps for 10 plus years. So maybe that's why. Maybe, I don't know.
That's from a transition standpoint, anytime you move and get integrated, obviously that was a very weird time trying to operate and function. When you first moved into like being in the MI space and kind of what was that transition like, as far as just, it's the same industry, but obviously it's just a very different function. How was that transition to begin with that kind of has kept you here for over a decade now?
Yeah, I think my generation kind of gets a bad rap for like jumping around, not staying anywhere. And I think, for me, I've always tried to like get better at my craft. And I know that even today, I'm better than I was probably 10 years ago, but I still haven't perfected it. And so I think, it's just little changes. And I would say, after COVID, my job changed, as I'm sure Julie can attest. Everyone's jobs changed, but what I was doing primarily was calling on loan officers before COVID. And now it's kind of shifted where, we're having more conversations at the top of the house and bringing value at the top down, as opposed to, I was in 10 offices a day before COVID, which, now there's a lot of people that aren't in their offices. So yeah, that I've had to kind of change and
evolve the sales approach. How have you, using that, like talking about the changes in terms of who's in the office and who's not. We talk a lot about how that's, fundamentally changed the way that we have to use, obviously, social media and engaging, creating, whether it's video call interactions and setting up like webinars and things like that. And like you said, going to the top of the house. How have you changed your approach, or what has that done for your, like what you do with social media to, to create those relationships that, is essentially the only way you're going to get in front of certain people?
Yeah. And that's a really good point. There are, I think really some days that's the only way to get in touch with people is social media. And we're a little more like restricted on what we can do. So I don't market myself on Instagram or Facebook from a business perspective, just a personal one. But a huge tool for me has been LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, which is, the business side of LinkedIn, where you can, drill down into a business and see who the decision makers are. And you can get more kind of granular within the organization. And then video. I think people love, I think when we do it, I know for me, it seems silly and I think I'm not doing it right, or I sound funny, or I look weird, or whatever it is, but people love it because then they feel like they get to know you. And so yeah, we have a video system we use, and I know there's free ones out there too, but I think that kind of stuff is great. And then the last thing I would say is like training, offering training that's useful to the people that are in your sphere, so whether it's operational training, or even like you're talking about social media. I think anything that you can give people that is different and of value, they're going to want to do it because they're trying to get better themselves, I think.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, just to chime in, you said you pivoted, and during COVID, we all had to pivot. And so what is the platform besides LinkedIn that you use? Just LinkedIn, really?
Yeah, well, LinkedIn.
So that's totally different. So you picked LinkedIn, and I hardly ever use LinkedIn,
right,
but I need to use it more.
Yeah.
So I'm curious on the sales navigation. You just kind of target brokers, owners. How are you using LinkedIn?
Yeah. So
drill down into that.
Yeah. So I don't call them brokers because brokers are sending it to an end investor and they're choosing where the mortgage insurance goes. So that was task number one, figure out who I need to be calling on and how I can be getting the most amount of business. And so LinkedIn is I think it's great because every professional's on it. You may not use it, but you have one, right? So, and if someone sends you a message on there, you're probably going to see it. So that I just think it's been really useful. The sales navigator piece is like you can pay more and have, like different capabilities where I can look at all of your profiles and you won't know that it's me looking at it kind of thing. And so then you can look at like an organization, like I could go into American Pacific Mortgage and then it would tell me every decision maker that's there, what their role is. So then you have kind of, if there's accounts where I've had trouble signing up and getting my foot in the door, I'll just go to Sales Navigator, and then I can look and see who's who and kind of try to figure out exactly who I'm going to target. Because I've spent, years before trying to target the wrong people, and we all know that's just not a good use of time. So, yeah,
no, it's not. So you do video. That's exciting. And then what do you talk about on your videos?
So mostly I post them on LinkedIn usually.
Okay.
But mostly if we're doing, like we recently just hosted a kind of like a town hall with our VP of Public Policy, Steve Sorge. So he was talking about what kind of the economic outlook is going to be for the next 12 months. So then I would make a video and tell people to watch the recording and then post it on LinkedIn. So just usually bringing them to something that we're offering of value that has nothing to do with mortgage insurance typically.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good, like, broad concept to really to talk about and kind of create an actual actionable kind of thought process, providing value that isn't actually your primary, resource, your primary service,
yeah.
primary source of business,
Right.
whatever it is, right, is a great way. I think that's where sometimes people struggle to get creative and, get sometimes repetitive where they just keep talking about the very thing that they're, offering.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking about like creative ways to generate value, how do you come up with those ideas? Is it kind of just through your own personal experience? Do you go digging into researching what might be valuable to people? What's that kind of creative process look like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Essent does a lot of stuff for us on the back end that makes my job great, makes me look good. But I would say, ultimately it's people want relationship with other people that they know, like, and trust, and so I think I've learned that at a really young age. Like I think getting to really know people and what makes them tick, because what you're interested in is going to be different than what Julie's interested in, what Buzz is interested in. So it's like, you kind of have to figure that out. And if I'm just talking about mortgage insurance rates all day, you're going to be like, yeah, you don't want to hear about that. So I think, but it requires a conversation typically, and figuring out what it is that you're trying to focus on or what you're trying to do to grow in your business. I think that's the best way usually.
I totally agree that a lot of people miss the boat completely when you're talking about bringing value. And this is one of the things that as loan officers, we hear all the time. You go to a sales meeting of a bunch of realtors and you show up and basically throw up what everybody else is, we do FHA and VA loans and our interest rates are this and we got really good fees, and within seconds, people turn that off because actually that's what all lenders do, or that's what all MI companies do, or all title companies do.
Right.
If she showed up all the time and says, well, we have really good escrow officers that do the paperwork, great. And it's like,
you don't care.
Well,
Who doesn't have that?
Yeah, who
Right.
does? That's the entrance to the game.
Right.
And so it's got to be the other things that we're all interested in, like video. It's one of the things that one of the main reasons why Phil and I are doing this is to lead by example with our loan officers. But video, and it could be books, it could be learning how to use social media. It could, look at all the different ways that people go out and get business. We have a pretty much ongoing guest, Michelle Kincaid, owns an insurance company, but she also does a lot of social media training where she'll I thought, what is it? It's Thursdays that she does
An open hour.
where, it helps people with their social media. Nothing to do with insurance.
Right.
But people respond to those types of things. And I know you guys do a lot of training.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I think exactly like what you're saying. It's you have to find, and I think, we've known each other for a long time. And, obviously I just met Julie. She's lovely, and I've known you, Phil, but we rarely talk about mortgage insurance.
I don't know that we've ever.
I don't think we have probably ever have. Yeah. So, and that's.
That's what you do?
What?
So
You're in the mortgage insurance?
I think it's important people know what you do, but I don't think it, like you said, I don't think it needs to be the topic of every conversation. So.
Well, and that goes all the way down to our borrowers. A lot of times that's where the loan officer gets lost is, well, what am I supposed to talk to them? And it's like, well, what do you talk to your friends about?
Right.
What are common interests? That's what you're developing relationships.
Right.
So, yeah.
In the relationship business. That's right. That's all sales is. And we all do it in some way, just different. We're selling different products.
Well, we
right?
just saw each other in Dallas.
Yes, we did.
And we had a great time, talked, but never about business.
Right. That's right.
The business is what we're there for. I mean,
right. But we both know that,
Yeah.
that's like, we both know that that's what we're there for. So, and I think that that to me is like the number one thing is your relationship building. It's like at the end of the day and networking with other professionals and trying to bring usefulness into your sphere so then you can be useful to the folks that you're trying to sell, whatever it is that you're selling. And it's at the end of the day, it's just a relationship. I remember we did a sales training called Richardson. It was a while back. I don't know, like maybe 5 or 7 years ago, but it was all about the open-ended question. Like you're constantly wanting to ask people things about themselves and you want it to be an open-ended question so they keep talking. And that's, really, it's like that's all sales is people talking about themselves and what's important to them. And the more they're talking, the more you're winning because then they're sharing things about them, that they find valuable or enjoyable. So
the Richardson, is that a person who came up with the philosophy? Or is it?
It's called the Buzz Howard. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's Richardson Training. I think it's a person. We sponsored it. Our company sponsored it, and we all went through it. Someone came and spoke, but it was just all these books and pages, and you can go through any kind of sales training. But I mean, they're all really the same at the end of the day. But yeah, I'll send you a link on it.
I almost want to make fun. Was his name Bob Richardson who was speaking?
I don't know. I'll send it to you.
You brought up a good point where you don't have to talk about your business. And I don't know if you remember when we were working together, I did Friday Fun Facts. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was so great. And I built my audience on that, just so you know. Like my Facebook audience a lot of it came from the Friday Fun Facts, but I was working for American Pacific Mortgage at the time. But it was a way I could draw in like the lending and the real estate community.
Yeah.
Because it just really grew. I mean, to the point where...
And it wasn't... what was a couple of the subjects?
I want to know the most interesting.
Okay, the most interesting
Friday
was
Fun
when
Fact.
Folsom football was going to the state championship.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
And we actually filmed it on the field with the team behind me. And the Friday Fun Fact was that they did yoga to prepare.
Oh,
not like weight training. They did weight training and all that.
Sure.
But they also did yoga, and it like helped them concentrate or whatever.
That's cool.
So that was like really crazy. That was one. And I think we tried to do one on the side of Highway 50 at Kivers during a storm. But I mean,
you know how they always do the weather guy is up at Blue Canyon,
Yeah.
and he's going, the snow is falling, and he's going, it's really damn cold up here. So we were coming back from Reno, her and I. It was dark, and she goes, let's do a Friday Fun Fact. So we pulled over the car. Neither of us had coats on.
Yeah.
It was a blizzard, and we're out trying to do this, and the diesel trucks were, just slamming by us, and we tried several things, and we both froze to death, and we got back in the car going,
it was
crazy.
But yeah, just random things, just anything that I could think of that no one I thought would really know.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's great.
Stuff like that. So we built my audience. So I guess I would say people that are struggling for content, you can get content anywhere, especially AI. There's books out there, 100 Things You Probably Don't Know. That's a great book where I got a lot of my ideas. But yeah, you don't have to do it on your profession.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's like working smarter, not harder. And I remember, I remember when I first started, my boss, she trained me. She was one of my most favorite people, a woman mentor, and she just believed in me and really kind of helped me advance in my career and figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And she'd always say that, like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And, it's like, okay. So, and I will say too, like for your guys as loan officers, we have tons of material that's available to loan officers on our website, and so do the other MI companies. And I mean, ours is the best, but there's, we have economic landscapes, we have loan officer trainings, we have realtor trainings. So there's tons of stuff you can get out there on the internet where you don't have to, him and haw every week about, well, gosh, what am I going to send a realtor? You can just grab something and send it.
It's a great idea. And even at placertitle.com, we actually have a library on our website.
Yeah.
And you can pull, there's hundreds of items on there that they can pull and just do a video on that.
Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Yeah. We'll help you. We'll help you.
Well, I think the key areas that I always am looking for when I'm trying to identify like what's of value is knowledge is one, right? Like expertise for sure. It's also ease. Like if there's something you can do that makes something easier or like a shortcut that will, take a 30-minute process and help someone get it down to 10 or 5. Like those are all things, because we're all struggling with the distractions and like becoming proficient in certain ways. So anytime like I'm evaluating things, I always try to look at, what's clear and obvious, and then maybe what do I struggle with in there and what might be of value to kind of make it efficient. Because if I'm struggling with it, there's a good chance other people are, and then explore that with some other people to kind of find out, am I on track with that? Is that something else other people? I think there is an element of just observation and planning, and it sounds like not only do you do it, your company's doing it, where you're paying attention. And sales, we talk about carrying conversations, but it's listening, right? It's actually paying attention to what are you hearing, and sometimes the things that are said are exactly it. And other times, if you're active listening, you're picking up on what they're not actually saying, but you can see and recognize. So, from a lending perspective, like I think like in terms of the MI world, whether as an originator, as a company, there are a lot of questions early on that come up around that for, mortgage originators as they're learning early in the business, clients. Is there, during that time, is there something that you frequently see just in like the MI world where like that surprises you that people maybe don't understand, do understand, like that kind of like where you might take it for granted as a professional, and then you realize that actually isn't a well-known thing, whether it be like clients or other, industry professionals?
That's a good question. I will say the probably the most blown away I'd ever been was I was working with a loan officer at an unnamed company. It wasn't here. And he said, I sent you my last MI deal. And I said, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, it was an FHA. And I was like, I'm like, but I am private mortgage insurance, right? Obviously, to me, I'm like, did they not teach you that? And like, I took my NMLS test, and maybe they don't teach it. But anyway, I think there's just a lot of basic things that maybe people don't really get, out, because it's our job is such. And I know, because I've been on your side, it's such on-the-job training, right? It's really, you have to be doing it. You have to be in the process. But I just think there's a lack of good mentors and people that want to take other people under their wing and teach them, like that. Like that seems like to us,
seems like an obvious statement.
It's a basic thing, right? But it wasn't to him. He was dead serious. And And I don't think he was brand new either, you know, and I think his dad was running the branch. So I'm like, okay. But there's resources available for that. So I just think that, I just think that there's just a lack of that, a lack of mentorship and training.
So true.
Yeah.
If you look at like sales leadership and even the teams that, you know, we managed in the past, you know, we've done everything that they're walking into so we can lead them. But now it's kind of shifting where the younger salespeople are more knowledgeable than the older because of the social media, AI, like they know more sometimes than the leaders do. So that's a shift that, you know, senior leaders that are my age need to step up and really dive into the social media, the AI, and learn and understand it so they can lead.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm going to still look at you. Why
are you looking at me? Oh, this is, you know.
I was looking at Phil looking at you.
I put my boots on.
I was looking at Phil looking at you.
I put my boots on, so I'm ready to go.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to keep learning.
Right?
We all have to keep learning.
But there are things that
there are
a lot of things that you would know that you could help
100%.
a younger person understand. But I get what you're saying. The social's one piece of it, but it's like, you know, the principles and business and relationships, and you have, you know, tenfold on somebody that's brand new coming in. So I just think, there should be a give and take, and understanding that I think is important. I don't know.
Well, there is a tremendous amount, and I realize it every day. I mean, we kid a lot about this, but when I was a big producer, we didn't have computers yet that were doing this work. We were putting a paper file together. We didn't even have fax machines.
Trans boxes.
You know,
we have the stone from your first mortgage up on the wall.
Have the stone, that's right.
It's
we had
there.
A chisel.
We have
a
it.
hammer.
It's framed.
But you know what blows me away every day is more and more technology coming in, and just to get a verification. Well, you don't call up the employer anymore and say, "Hey, could you fill out this form?" There's so much that goes on, and that kind of brings up this subject of AI, which in this podcast we talk a lot about AI. And last week they kidded me because, you know, it was a therapy session because there's so many different things, and it's just kind of blowing me away. And unfortunately, I didn't do what I said I was going to do, is get my account set up this afternoon. But with that in mind, AI, we talk a lot about it. Are there things that you personally are doing that you're leaning into AI? What is it that it's doing for you, and what systems are you using?
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about, because I got in the business back in 2011. That's when I started working at the mortgage company, and it was the year where soon after 11, but they were like, we're gonna go paperless, right? And then they really didn't go paperless. They still have like these huge stacks of paper on everyone's desk. But it's funny to think about the changes that they've tried to implement, and some of them have stuck and some of them haven't. But as far as AI, I don't use it really for business. Really at all. I mean, I use it, like I'll use Chat GPT. I wrote, helped a friend write a funeral letter on speech eulogy on Chat GPT. But other than that, I don't really use it for business. I don't really use it. I mean, I use some other tools like video, and we talked about that, but I don't really use it. So I can go back and watch your guys's AI videos and find out how I need to be using it more, probably.
That would be a good idea, because last week, Michelle Kincaid, that's 2 times. She might owe us for a commercial.
Did she pay you?
Well, yeah, we're going to send you an invoice. But I was blown away on all the different things that she is using it for. And Phil, you and I had this conversation last night. It's like, how come we haven't been doing this? But
the limitation that kind of starts and stops at the very beginning is our own brains not being open to like all the ways it could make things faster, whether it's like email responses faster, writing your first draft. Like it's a lot easier to update a draft that's already written than to write the first draft. To create, you have an idea and to have your thoughts get organized into a concise format, chronological format, whatever. There's all these like really basic early things that you can do. And then once you start playing with that, you start to realize, oh, it can do this. Oh, it can do that. And then all of a sudden there's like this kind of moment where you realize it can do about 10 million things that I would not have been able to creatively come up with in the beginning, but now that I'm engaged in it, it's opened up your eyes. And I think that for everybody in that space, it's really like what changed the game for me was the ability to talk to it and like data dump as I was going along and, be in the middle of a day and just dump ideas in and then have those things be organized on the back end of the day and go, okay, it's all organized, as opposed to, like, let me sit down and summarize my day type of deal on paper. So to me, there's a lot of stuff that I think we all have to kind of just start engaging with it, like we were doing with Buzz. But I also think companies have to figure out how they're going to use it. And I think that's the place that's also really an interesting component, because there's so much fear. And a lot of times it's human fear that kind of stands in the way of our ability to use it from a company perspective, protecting data, protecting, and so I think that's on a whole nother level of complexity. I watched some segments recently talking about essentially all the good things that can come from it, as well as the end of the world, projections of like how AI could turn on us. And it's kind of interesting when you realize like we're living in that time right now, like that, whatever future is going to unfold in that, like we're actually in the middle of it because it's happening all around us.
I think right now, just because it is almost mid-November, the most applicable way to use it right now is your business planning.
Business planning, yeah.
Because if you tell it details about you, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you struggle with, what your end goal is, what you're about, it is amazing what it will come up with. It's crazy. So like even what your revenue goals are for the year, it breaks it down monthly. It breaks down to activities, everything. So the more you put into that prompt, the more detailed it will be. And that's a major deal. Business planning is hard. And you got to have your SMART goals. So you throw that in there. I want SMART goals. It just dials it in seconds.
And what are you using for that? Chat GPT?
Yeah, I use chat. And, corporations are now integrating AI in
Copilot.
I have Copilot on my Outlook. So that's great, because then you transpose a follow-up email, you put it in there, they make it clean and tight. And that's how I use it a lot every day.
Yep.
And then on my social media posts, just to do my captions, at least like you said, I don't use it. I clean it up, though, after they do it.
So go back to autopilot or Copilot?
Copilot.
Same thing.
That's an
Copilot,
Microsoft.
whatever. So that's an AI platform?
Built into Windows, right?
Yep. And so you're in your Outlook, you can just copy paste and it can change it, and then you put it back.
So it's something that's already on my computer.
It could be. I don't.
Ours
know.
is not rolled out. I don't think, but
could.
your company can roll it out. Yeah, it's
Ours
built
is in there.
Oh, there you go.
And
You didn't know that, Buzz?
I didn't know that.
Well, and that's the other thing though, is we need training on how to use it. We need to know it's there, and then we need to know in what use cases it's best to utilize the tool. I think sometimes things are just there and no one knows, and unless you hear from someone else. So I don't know. I think that's important too.
Sales presentations. If you had a sales presentation with whoever and you wanted to tell them more about, you can actually ask chat about you. Tell me about her. Tell me, is she this? Is she that? What is her strengths? What is her weaknesses? It will tell me everything about you before I walk into that appointment.
Oh, interesting.
It does some pretty cool. I mean, just you can add once you have it set up, like take business planning, you can set it up with an integration and then have it create your business plan PowerPoint. You can have it create a PowerPoint from what you've created, so you could tell, hey, these are my 5 goals. I want to get the breakdowns of these 5 goals, and then you consolidate it and go, all right, now I want you to create a PowerPoint, and then it asks you a bunch of questions. You can upload your branding, your company information, whatever you want, and then it will create your PowerPoint, and you can do a whole bunch further from there. But just in terms of efficiency and speed, to be able to have that output and not sit down and get lost in the weeds. I know for me, one of my biggest challenges is always like rabbit hole thinking to like essentially go from like A to Z of a project and a goal, right? And now you've thought through all the ways, but now in order to go and discuss it with the group, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and a really concise, like summarized message. And that's always like the hardest thing for me when I've gone all the way through, because I'm like, now how do I turn this into a 4-word summary of what we're going to talk about? And that's really helpful for me, because it takes me way longer than it takes a 2-second response from ChatGPT to do that. So there's things that, like you mentioned, training, letting people know that it exists, and then also helping people start to explore how it can help them. Like for me, I always enjoy the puzzle of figuring out how you can provide value to somebody. Like that's like that kind of internal challenge of identifying, like, what does this person need to be better? What can I do to provide a positive impact? And I think the AI thing is kind of the same exploration within ourselves. Like, what would help me be faster to get stuff done? Like, where would I need a lift? Like, and I kind of encourage people, what do you hate doing in your day? Because we talk about like when it, as employers or managers, when you hire someone to take on a task or do a certain thing. And that's really a conversation in many ways you're having with your ChatGPT account or your AI account. Like, what can I not spend the time and offload and still get done? And, it's a process, right?
It is a process. Like, you're really into fitness, right? You shared that with me.
Yeah.
So like, and just a couple of ideas, you could say, I need to have 40 grams of protein per meal. I don't like this. I like chicken. I don't like meat, whatever, everything about you. And it will give you a weekly recipe list, shopping list in seconds. Yeah. So that's a good applicable way that's outside of business.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I just don't even think about it. Yeah. Like it's not, it isn't. And I just haven't adopted it. So it's not the first thing I think of. So when I need something,
I would say just in the last probably 6 months is when it's really like clicked for me, where like I start to like, it was that brain opening moment of like, I could, instead of summarizing my day really quickly on, a notepad for what I want to jump into tomorrow, if I had just been kind of firing this in throughout the day, I would already have it. Like I wouldn't, and I could listen to it in my car ride home instead of sitting here and reading it.
Do you talk to text?
Talk to text all the time. It talks back. You can have all sorts of conversations with it. You can change the voice to be what I want. I joke all the time, like I don't want to get caught having a conversation with a woman on, that my wife doesn't know randomly. So so I talk to a guy like in like a, like
yours is a British accent.
Yeah, like British accent, like, but the ability to talk for me is like a good compliment depending on what point in the day. Sometimes I like to write to it because it's slower and I want to read the response, but it's an interesting conversation with where you are and what you do. Because once you start to play with it, like certain things you start to realize, man, it would be awesome if I didn't have to do this manual step anymore. If and then all of a sudden it's like kind of a whole new world opens up on efficiency, especially once you've realized it's like this place that never forgets. So, you have a conversation with someone, they may retain 25, 30% of what you talked about. Once you start putting stuff in there, it's like, oh, that was 6 months ago and it still knows every detail and I can recall it on command and input it. So, when you start having those, you start realizing, man, that's valuable, right? Like, because I have you and I've talked about it a lot, like kind of a binge thinking approach where like I can really lock into a project or a thought, but then like if I have to switch gears to something else, it takes me a minute to kind of get going. And now I just have this like auto recall thing that will put me right back into it because it's it's allowing me to kind of quickly read a summary that's going to spark the brain to catch up. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So like talking about like your day to day and relationships, switching gears, like when you talk about what you do most days as like your most important function, what would you say your average day is doing? Are you doing a lot of education, training, value add, connection, like, and what part of your job do you enjoy the most?
Well, being a mom is my biggest job in life. So everything I do obviously is for them and for my husband. That sounds corny, but it's true. But as far as activities, it looks different every day, because some days I'm in Dallas at your symposium. Next week I'm at a conference in Universal City. I was in Arizona a couple weeks ago. Or I'm, meeting with leadership, or a lot of my, and maybe I can use AI to help with that, is a lot of I have to pre-plan a lot, just to figure out, okay, well, it's November, so how am I going to be successful in December? And then using, I guess right now it's all manual, but trying to figure out, a call rotation, how many customers I have, who I need to be seeing. I was just thinking too that, it's like efficiency. That's what you're saying, efficiency. And really that's it right now, is like, we all have the same amount of hours in a day. And I'm a mom to 3 kids, right? I work full time. So it's like, if there are things I can do, I have year-end reviews with all my customers. So it's like, well, maybe I find a way to, use some of those tools to help me, I don't know, shorten that process, rather than, it's like I go to Internet Explorer and copy and paste a picture and, clip art, and like, it's just, it's archaic. But, I just think, and then teaching my kids how to use it too. I think they're going to be the ones that are going to be probably using it day in and day out, I would imagine. But
absolutely,
it would be interesting to do a case study. We should ask her to lean into chat to do your customer year-end reviews.
Yeah.
And see if how it, like, you usually do it, and if you lean into chat and AI, how it changed everything for you. Because I could envision it helping you create the questionnaires and getting, everyone scheduled, or even pushing it to them.
Right.
And all sorts of different things. So it'd be an interesting case study.
Okay.
So
I'll work on it.
I think we should have her come back in January or something.
Yeah.
And report back that's, okay, this is how it changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good idea. Yeah. No, I think if it can, each one probably takes me 4 or 5 hours, each PowerPoint, because I'm building it from scratch. And then, I have certain things I'm inputting here and there, and matrix and questions, but, ultimately the questions for every customer are similar depending on what they're experiencing, but I'm going to try it. I like it.
Once you put your first one in, and then it populates everything, and then you want it to replicate and input, it'll massively expedite. But then you'll also be able to go into, well, if I keep my notes throughout the course of each year on, the different customers and the accounts. When it's time to do your end of year review, you can literally go, hey, summarize my year for that account, and have everything that you want spit out, and then have it and be like, that was 6 hours and reviewing 365-day calendar year of details. And I've been keeping track, like stuff like that's where like the brain starts to just go, whoa, like if I just keep at it. And use it regularly. But I know we have a hard stop for you coming up not too long, because you've got, speaking of which, appointments and meetings, but would love to give you a chance, any things that we haven't covered that we haven't asked you to share before we have to let you go.
Yeah, you got it. I just loved being here with you guys, but I was going to say, we didn't really talk much about like me growing up or anything like that. And I did mention I lived in Seattle, but so I know, I don't know if you guys have talked about it on here, but Buzz's son had an anterior venal malformation. And so my mom had one growing up, and they messed up the brain surgery, and so it was a medical malpractice, and so she was disabled my whole life.
And you and I talked extensively about that.
We have talked about it. Yeah. So I've got like a kindred spirit to buzz for that. So yeah, I just think that's a big reason why it was like, who's influential to you and who's helped you? And I think I watched my mom growing up, and she struggled because she was paralyzed and couldn't speak. And so she's always been like my I guess, like shining light, the person I look up to the most, and was like, you know what, if she couldn't drive, she couldn't work, it's like, I'm just like, anything I can complain about today is minuscule compared to that. So, but anyway, a lot of people don't know about the AVM thing.
You and I talked about this, and, it just brought back some chills because, that is such an important part of you on how you grew up, and it's what shaped you. This love for your mom and her inability to be the mom that you are. And so it's a great story. It's a great story. Yeah. I wish that we had more time to dive into that. I will just say, both of your Fab Over 50 is about fitness and that kind of stuff, and you're really into fitness.
Yes.
Tell us, you work out at, what was the name of the gym? Bob's Gym or something?
Bobby Heat.
Bobby Heat.
Body Heat. I work out at Body Heat. It's just heated fitness classes. But yeah, and even I ran a marathon a few years back. I work out almost every day because my mom couldn't. And so I think, well, my body is able, my body is capable. I want to be in the best shape I can for my kids so I can hopefully chase grandkids around one day. But yeah, I think for women, that's really important. I'm sure you talk a lot about it. I don't know any of like the education behind it, but I do know that I think women are afraid of lifting heavy weights, and they shouldn't be, because that's how you're going to get, I think, more toned. Is, it's like you can do an hour of cardio every single day and never budge, because you're not really changing your body. So that's why I like going there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and for the older women, lifting weights is the best thing to do to change your body into tone. So yeah.
Well, it's funny because all of us, all of us guys, it's always when you come around, they're all going, "Did you see her arms? She's got guns." And so, yeah, I would love for you guys to be able to collaborate,
yes,
on your stuff.
We would like to take you to a class, some sort of class.
Well, you don't get an Olympic ice skater body like this without working out a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Are you going to start going to Bobby Heat?
Bobby Heat sounds like my kind of guy. And so...
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I so appreciate the partnership and the friendship. And I'm excited to watch you guys grow this podcast. What's the ultimate goal for the podcast? Just keep bringing in people and...
Keep growing it. Yeah. Keep, like Buzz said, leading by example with what we do, and frankly, providing a platform for people to share their story and to talk a lot about, the challenge of being in front of the camera and social media and AI that everybody faces, and try to kind of help people conquer, that challenge and fear and be successful as salespeople.
Is all they need. Just be on one podcast and they're like, I can do this. I can do video. It's not that hard, right? You've probably been on video before.
I have some, but not like this. Yeah. This is a whole different. Yeah. But I think it's cool because, like you were saying earlier, if you asked five loan officers, what are the things you spend the most time on? What are your biggest issues? They'll most likely say similar things. So it's like, if you can get people on here and uncover whatever it is they're struggling with, then that's you. Then your time is well spent. That's useful.
Exactly.
I think it's great.
And love creating a forum for people to tell their story, just like you. I mean, I think that's the one thing we talk, AI, social media. At the end of the day, it's about human to human connection and people understanding each other's stories. And this, is such a great platform for people to be able to tell their story and get to know, the people behind the business. And, so when I watch the videos of Tupac and Big E driving or not driving a Tesla, talking about how amazing it is that the car drives itself and that's AI generated, that's not all we're seeing. We're actually interacting with people. So
Are you guys going to tell your stories? Have you guys interviewed each other yet?
We've touched a little bit about that.
Okay.
Both Phil and I are in witness protection plan, so it's against the rules for us to actually talk about our childhood.
I got it.
But maybe at some point.
Yes.
Definitely will. I know I'll be going on as guests on, other podcasts as well and kind of trying to drive that. I try to spare the audience my story as much as possible because we want them to watch so that, everybody else is far more interesting. But
we've gotten some recent numbers about our viewership.
Month one. So we did our October results and we had 50,000 views in our first month on the
great.
show.
Congratulations.
So was kind of a milestone to hit 50 in month one on it. So
that's awesome. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
See, you are entertaining, more entertaining than you may think you are.
Well,
Buzz.
I'm here for comic relief.
You are.
Yeah.
we won't say all the negative comments around Buzz that they had and me. Lots of compliments for Julie and our guests,
but they skewer him and I. It's like,
boy.
why are those guys even there?
Somebody's got to do it.
right?
Yeah.
I'm here for a purpose, and that's always it.
That's right.
So
I don't even look at the comments because I'm afraid.
No.
Don't. But we'll make nice comments on yours.
Please do.
Anonymously.
Thank you. Anonymously.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I don't want to hold you up past your appointment, so thank you so much, Skyler.
Thanks for having
Great
me.
having you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you today.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's, really, really cool to know that you're not alone, Buzz, and that there are other people that are trying to work through the AI thing.
Just now picking it up. We're kindred souls,
in many ways.
Yeah. What a lovely person. And when I started talking to her about coming, she was a little bit fearful. And obviously working for an insurance company, they were a little bit worried about what she would say, but
what she really meant was that she didn't know if she could be in the room with you for more than
me. That's right.
Minutes, yeah.
But I think it's indicative of there's a lot of professionals that still haven't. I haven't set up my account yet. I've got the free versions, but I haven't set up my account yet. I've got to do it this afternoon, and so it's indicative of a lot of people.
Well, and the companies that, still have not found a way that they're comfortable, that is a safe installation of it. So that limits the ability as an individual to integrate it into your business in a lot of ways. So I think that's another real issue that goes beyond individual people and the companies that they work for, having to make sure that they're protecting their clients, but not yet being sure or having mapped out. So it's a very real issue too.
You know what blows me away, Julie, and you've never met her.
No, I've never met her.
And again, she's such a big networker, connector, and you are. I'm hoping that maybe your Fab over 50 you guys can collaborate some way.
Yeah. Interesting.
That'd be interesting to see if you guys can do something together.
Yeah, because she definitely has that segment. She has young kids, but yet she's managed to really stay in shape and balance it all: career, fitness, and kids, and that is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not over 50.
No,
I don't think. But
no, she's not.
Just the energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Joining followers, which, by the way, how's that going for you?
Okay.
She told us the story last week of losing all of your followers.
125,000 on Meta.
Wow,
which
God.
is a lot. Took me 5 years to build that audience. So I built almost 1,000 this week. So in 1 week, I was able to build 1,000, which isn't going to get me to my goal by year end, but I'm working on some other strategies.
So
Yes.
how? Like, I mean, just 1,000 on Meta in a week is a tremendous amount to build anyway. So what were some of the strategies you used to rebuild your audience?
Actually, ChatGPT told me to pull some of my old videos that got the most views. So I'm just reposting some of my older videos, and that's working because they're like, oh, I love this video. I thought I was following her. I'm not. So that's gotten me that quicker. I've also learned, and this is my pro tip for the week, is that I'm starting to create my videos showcasing the benefits instead of the features, because you have to touch on someone's emotional state before they act or buy from you.
Give me an example. Benefits
I'm
as
gonna put
opposed
That's
to
the value add,
Yeah, I'm
right?
gonna-
That's the value add.
Yeah, that's the value add right there.
That's it.
So I'm going to put it in your world. So you have a loan program. The interest rate is this. It's this many years. But
Those
instead
are
of
the
talking-
features.
Those are the features. But instead of talking about the features, you need to say, this loan can eliminate your debt, can allow you to go on more vacations, can do all this, whatever the emotional part of that your product can deliver is what you should talk about, not what the product is. Does that make sense?
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean that we were just talking about that earlier. That you're applying the concept of like features are cool, but they don't really matter if they don't do something beneficial to me. If it doesn't make my life better or makes my kids' life or whatever
Right.
it is, why would I bother? If the features are cool but they don't benefit my life, then I'm not motivated to act. So it's just simply creating the narrative of like, I'm not going to sit and feature dump. I'm
Well,
going to tell you how this improves.
It also has to, it would be, as I think about it, it would be based on, I need to know about you and your likes, dislikes, wants, desires to a certain degree. Because I could think just the difference between, let's say, a 30-year mortgage and a 15-year mortgage. I need to know if you're coming in and you're going to retire soon and you don't want debts after you retire and blah, 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 then I need to understand that, hey, one of the ways this 15-year loan will allow you to pay off this mortgage, not have debt. Or if you're saying, I want my payment as low as possible, all of those kind of, 30-year mortgage is going to give you the lowest payment so
Correct.
that you could, so I kind of see that.
Yeah. So just if you can just rethink it and say, like, what is the emotional benefit, whatever I'm saying is going to affect the person, instead of what the object is, you win. And so my 2026 videos are going to be more on the emotion as opposed to the features. And
Love
benefits.
it. Love it. And we're going to have like fireworks and things going off because we made it to November 7th. And however, 15 episodes in before we had your first blah, blah, blah filler that you do when you're telling a story.
Did I?
You just did it. It's first time. I think.
What did I say?
You just you did your blah, blah, blah when you're telling a story and you don't want to finish the rest. We made it. I think we went 15 episodes.
Blah, blah, blah.
You get to the part where you're like, and you're like, blah, blah, blah. 15 episodes. They got fireworks coming on screen. But
Well,
that's your filler comment when you tell a story. But
like,
I like it. So on a sales note, before I want to pass it to you for the the weekly mortgage update buzzer, but that to me is the most important thing that we need to be teaching salespeople is to pay attention to that. And that's what, like, the whole conversation around like listening and understanding value, understanding what your clients need, your customers need, is to come back to their benefit. And I really think, to me, some of the most like cringeworthy moments in my career have been listening to people come on and feature dump. And in my personal experience as it relates to this, I see it a lot right now in the tech space, in the AI space. When you are being pitched new tools, new technology, it's feature dumping. because they're trying to convey what it can do. But it's, I think, one of the challenges we're in the middle of, well, how is this actually going to improve my day-to-day, my customers' day-to-day as a company when I'm evaluating tools? Like, all these features are great, but actually I don't really understand how it's going to benefit directly until you connect. And so I think there's a lot of, that's always been an issue in my mind with like software, CRMs. They put people on that aren't really salespeople that feature dump and don't help you understand how you can use it effectively.
Well, we saw a little bit of that with Skyler when we started talking about and changing the way that she was going to do this report, or what was it, customer review, and she started asking some questions, and so we started talking about this is going to give you back more time and that type of stuff, which is what she kept talking about. I'm a mom of 3, time and
exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So we saw a little bit of that, kind of the change in her attitude.
Yeah, why you want to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I probably sat on in the last 6 months 20 to 25 different demos and calls and been sitting there thinking, this is nothing but a feature dump, and then asking, okay, so help me understand how I would use this and like what would be like the direct lift, like just a really simple answer to try to help create that connection, not only for myself, but if we're going to roll out the tool to our people. And it's amazing how many have not yet reached that point where they can do that. And, I think that's the fatal flaw of a lot of software companies is they put the people that understand the software on to tell you about it, not 100%. People that understand how to connect and sell you on what in fact it's going to do for you.
Yep.
So sidebar, software companies put people on that understand how it's going to help us as people to use your tool. But before we go, we got to get the weekly update buzzer. We got to hear what's the latest and greatest.
The weird thing, day 38 in the government shutdown, and one of the problems with the government shutdown is the Bureau of Labor Statistics puts out a ton of reports that the mortgage industry rely on, the Federal Reserve relies on to make decisions, all of those types of things. And so what happens when the government is shut down, we don't get those reports. We're not getting the unemployment numbers. We're not getting the durable good orders and all of the different reports. So what we've seen is the market was doing really well, which was in reaction to the coming Fed moves. And then it's kind of plateaued out, kind of reversed a little bit. But what we're seeing is a daily yo-yo. Matter of fact, my morning message this morning was, can you say yo-yo? And the reason that we're seeing that is we just don't have enough knowledge, enough reports. So what we're seeing is in the vacuum, we're getting a lot of private reports that are coming out. There's a really popular one called Challenger Gray and Christmas. They put out employment numbers, and there's others that have started filling in the void. And so what we're really seeing is that the employment numbers are still very, very weak, and we're starting to feel this but it's not moving the market like it typically does. And what we're starting to see also is the Feds will meet again early December. I think something like 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th of December. And all reports, if you go back 40 days ago, we're going to see them lower rates through the end of the year. Now they're starting to reverse that and saying, we don't really think that we're going to lower rates in December. We just don't have the technical knowledge of what we need. And so instead of having that anticipation run up in interest or reduction in interest rates, we're kind of seeing it flatten out. So most of the last 2 weeks have been a little bit worse interest rates to really kind of flat. And that's what we're seeing today, at least 2 hours ago. And so I really kind of think that we're going to stay in this sideways trend until the government opens back up. We start getting all the empirical data, and everybody can rely on that data again. So,
well, maybe
sideways movement.
We'll catch one of those lightning in a bottle changes that moves it fast. You never know, or we'll be kind of on top of it. It's interesting to look when you realize all the implications of the shutdown, right? That people don't think about. A lot of people don't definitively know exactly what that means, right? What does a government shutdown mean in terms of what's open, what's not, who's working, who's not. And
well, for us, I mean, it's been relatively easy, but as it continues out, as it drags out, those reports are really important for the direction and the determination of where interest rates should be. We do have USDA is shut down, so USDA loans just can't move forward. We only have one or two of those in our company right now. We just don't do a lot of USDA. Flood insurance, that's backed by the federal government, is struggling. They're not issuing it. So you have to if you need flood insurance, you have to go to some of the private companies. A little bit more expensive. So it as it drags out, we'll start seeing more exaggeration in the effects. So let's hope that we see them come to an agreement and move forward.
Well said. Well said. I think it's a cool perspective to kind of add in, and you see it across all sorts of industries, the areas affected and the ones not. So great. Well, any other final comments, you two, before we head into the end of the show here today?
I think next week you've got Jason back on.
Yeah, we've got Jason back on.
I am going on vacation tomorrow.
Okay.
I am going on a cruise. So
we have such a huge party going next week that you're gone. I'm telling you right now.
Buzz is gone. So you'll have Jason and hopefully Rodney Anderson will come in and visit.
Yeah, we will have a full house. We will make sure we're keeping the audience engaged. They will be very lost without your Texas charm. But
we got to have the comedic,
we'll have Julie here to do her thing.
They'll just have to make fun of you.
Yes, that's right.
No, that's not feasible. We'll make fun of you from wherever you are.
I appreciate that.
It's always nice to have someone to share in that fun for me. But perfect. Well, I do want to take a moment to the audience. Announce we finished our first month. We're obviously into November here. We've been, I think 15 episodes in, checked our October data, and we cleared 50,000 views last month. So thank you to all of you for watching.
Thank you.
It's a huge support. I know that probably 49,000 of them were watching Julie and our guests.
Absolutely.
And cursing out Buzz and I for ruining the shot. But we appreciate not only you tuning in to us and checking out all the comments. If you're watching, we are on all your platforms. We are on YouTube. We are on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, across all your social media platforms. So from Snapchat, TikTok, Julie's go-to,
favorite.
Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Blue Sky, you name it, Twitter, X, Threads. We're on all the platforms. So catch up with us on any. We've got Linktree account links in our profile. So catch up on any of your favorite platforms. And if you are watching, go over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, click the notification, stay up with all of our episodes. We'd love to keep you engaged, and we will have some more updates coming. But thanks again for tuning in, and hope to add you to the subscriber list. I'm your host, Phil Rasmussen. It's been another episode of the Blitz Break. Thanks again, Julie Buzzer, and we'll see you all next week.